Personification is fun. Personification is something that you often hear in music, in poetry, all over the place, really, and you don't even realize you're using it. So, personification is basically when you take a non human object and you give it a human characteristic. So, for example, a tree. Now, if it's a very windy day, the leaves might be moving, and it says, "Oh, look, the tree is waving at me." Or the birds. You always hear that the birds are singing. Well, the tree really doesn't have arms and it's not waving. And birds really aren't singing music. But we give them human like characteristics through personification. If you notice, it has the word person in the word. So that tells you that this is giving person characteristics. Personification is your friend. When you look at a tree, what do you see? Roots, a trunk, limbs, branches, and leaves, of course. But if you use your imagination, you can see that tree is like a person standing up. The roots are like the feet on the ground, and the trunk is like the body of the person. The limbs are like arms, and the branches are like fingers, and the leaves could be the person's hair. Poet Joyce Kilmer described a tree as if it were a person when he wrote his poem, Trees. A tree that looks at God all day and lifts its leafy arms to pray. When a writer gives a thing, a tree, qualities of a person, the ability to look up, raise one's arms, and pray, that's a figure of speech called personification. What, when some of the qualities of a person, or what are some of the qualities of a person? A person has a head with eyes, a nose, mouth, ears, and hair. A person has a body with arms and legs, fingers and toes. A person can see, hear, touch, smell, and taste. A person can walk, talk, think, laugh, speak, and all kinds of different emotions. Clouds, mountains, rivers, the wind, the rain, they don't have any of these qualities. Neither do stars, earth, grass, flowers, a house, a car, a chair, a bed, a lamp, or a fan. But in the imagination of a writer, or in your imagination, a thing, an animal, or an idea can have these qualities, characteristics, and personality that a person would have. When you use personification, your words create very definite pictures by suggesting that the things look or act like people. Personification helps the reader, who is a person, to identify the thing that resembles it or is behaving like a person. Writers often use personification to picture the elements of nature, the sun, the stars, the wind, as having qualities of people. For example, Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Father Time, Old Man Winter, the Man on the Moon, and Jack Frost are all well known examples of personification. Late lies the wintry sun abed, a frosty, fiery, sleepy head. Blinks but an hour or two, and then a blood-red orange sets again. Robert Louis Stevenson, Wintertime. Here, the poet described the winter sun as sleepy, who stays in bed late and therefore rises late. Blinks but an hour or two, so stays up in the sky for a short time and then goes back to bed or sets early. When the stars threw down their spears and watered heaven with their tears, did he smile his work to see? Did he who made the lamb make thee? This is by William Blake. The poem is called The Tiger. When the dawn spread her fingertips of rose in the eastern sky, the men and dogs went hunting. This is Homer, the Odyssey. Round the cape of sudden came the sea, and the sun looked over the mountain's rim. This is by Robert Browning, Parting at Morning. I saw you toss the kites on high, and blow the birds about the sky. And all around I heard you pass, like ladies' skirts across the grass. O wind a-blowing all day long, a wind that sings so loud a song. This is also by Robert Louis Stevenson, The Wind. Here are some examples of personification that might be used in everyday writing. The old college buildings looked as though they had grown thick beards of ivy since last time I had visited the campus. I wish old Father Time would move faster. I want to grow up quickly and be able to drive a car. The picnic was a disaster. Nature doesn't like me. First, the sun decided to take the day off, and when the wind smelled the hot dogs cooking it, it rushed down and put out the flames of the barbecue. And the clouds opened up and pelted us with huge raindrops. We'll try again tomorrow. A little personification can make your writing more interesting by helping the reader see an everyday thing in a more interesting way, as if they were a person. Your reader might never have thought of that thing in that way before. Let's try it out. Here are some unfinished sentences. How could you finish them using personification? Some ideas are in the next section. In the desert, the huge cactus plants reminded him of. Never enter Dead Man's Canyon, she whispered. It's the fearsome cyclone. He loved getting home after a long day at work and left his favorite overstuffed chair. I was on a diet, and all the pastries in the window were. Try to personify a few objects in your writing. It will make you write more personable. But don't get carried away with it. As with other figures of speech in this book, personification is best when used sparingly. Clowning around, the last word. Adding some personification to your paper on Clara the Crazy Clown will add final figurative touch to your description of her. Clara the Crazy Clown was a one-woman laughter machine. Her smile was so big it went around her head a couple of times. It could make your face light up like fireworks on the 4th of July. Her hair was like green spaghetti and her nose was like a red light bulb. Her feet were like large pancakes with toes, and her belly bulged like a laundry bag, bursting with bowling balls. Children howled and hollered when Clara made the horn go toot and the cannon go boom and the cream pie go splat. When you squeezed her nose, it blurped. The line of people waiting to get into the circus stretched a zillion miles because Clara made everyone laugh. Even in a bad weather, when Mother Nature hurled fiery thunderbolts down at the big top, or when Jack Frost touched people with his icy fingers, the audience flocked to see Clara, to be warmed by her silly antics. Here are some suggestions for personifications to finish the sentences from the previous section, but any ideas you have are just as good as these. People are being held up by robbers. Mouth of the devil, and it swallows all who dare to venture it. Picked the tree up in its huge hands and hurled it into the next country. Hug him with its soft arms, shouting, "Eat me, eat me!"